Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste to you all. Thank you for joining me to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a moment or two to become present. So find yourself a nice, comfortable seated spot on a blanket or cushion, whatever will help to elongate your back, elongate your back of your neck, having a nice straight back and lengthening your spine and your back of your neck. And close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning, we'll talk about the intention of Asteya, which is the third Yama of the Yamas and Niyamas. And Asteya is, what it breaks down to is the Sanskrit for stealing is steya, and Sanskrit for means non. So it's Asteya is non-stealing. So we all know what stealing is. It's what taking something that does not belong to you. So let's look at the opposite, the Asteya, the non-stealing. And Jim Willis, you'll enjoy this because I was thinking about it and it comes down to math. What are you adding to or taking from? So in your mind, are you adding to the conversation in a positive way? Remembering the first Yama, which is kindness, which is the filter for everything in yoga. It's the very first Yama and it's like the umbrella and you filter everything through kindness. So with stealing, are you adding to the conversation in a positive way? An example of this would be if someone's talking to you and they started the conversation and it's about something they're experiencing. And it's a fine line. You chime in and say, oh yeah, that happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And are you taking away from that conversation by stealing it from that person and bringing it to you so the conversation all of a sudden is about you? Or are you adding a positive reinforcement or support to that other person's conversation? So in body, are you adding to your health in a positive way as opposed to taking from? So I have a confession. Tomorrow, Super Bowl Sunday, I will be probably in the taking from column of as far as food, healthy food, that is. So I kind of have to offset that adding to part later on in the week. And then in the spirit, are you adding to your authentic self in a positive way with decisions you make about your life? So think about decisions you've made and journeys you've taken, and sometimes they feel like they're meant to be. That's that positive energy that goes into adding to your authentic self. And sometimes you make a decision and the spot you're in seems like a struggle the entire time. Maybe that's because it's taking from that, you're stealing from your authentic self. So that's today's Yama. And to support that, today's pranayama, our breathing technique, I'm going to start with my favorite breathing technique, is the Samavriti, which is the equal length breathing. And as with all our breathing, we start with a complete breath, which is the Dirja 3-part breath. And so we're trying to have our breath emanate from our tummy on up through our ribs, on up to our chest, kind of like a wave, an ocean wave of air instead of water coming all the way up from our stomach up to our chest. And then just like a wave too, the exhale would flow away from our chest, away from our ribs, and away from our tummy. So that's the Deirdre complete breath. So not just letting it reside up here, just coming from all the way up from the tummy on up to the chest and then back again. So we'll start with that. And for the Samavriti part, I'm going to start with a count of 4. So inhales will be a count of 4, exhales will be a count of 4. And then I'm going to let you go on and experiment with your own count. Mine typically is 6. I just feel that kind of oceanness of inhaling to a nice rhythm of 6 or 4, and then exhaling to a nice rhythm of 4. So let's start. So inhale through your nose. And I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. One last time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now just go on and breathe. And if there's a different count that works better for you, please employ that now. Now we're going to actually increase the inhale count by 2. So whatever you've been working with for a number, just add 2 more counts at the top of the inhale. And that's called Vishama Vriti. It's unequal length breath. And that is going to add more life force into you. So our inhale is all about prana, bringing life in. So it's just going to add to your life force. So continue on, adding 2 to the count of your inhale. Again, remembering breathing all the way from your tummy on up to your chest, and then letting it flow away like a wave of air. can return to your normal breath now. And for today's meditation, I'll give you a few moments to do your meditation. If you'd like to have a mudra for today, the booty, which is bringing your pinky to your thumb, extending your 3 fingers. It's the Boy Scout one, but you're bringing the tips of your pinky and your thumb together, not bringing your thumb down the pinky, just the tips. So that with your 3 fingers extended, and that adds to the mental clarity, helping to understand intuitive messages. It improves the communication internally and externally. So it adds to your mental clarity. So I'll give you a few moments. You could employ that booty mudra or your favorite one, or just place your hands gently on your lap. That would be great. And we'll get to our asana. Relax now. You can stay on your blanket if you want for a few of our warm-up exercises. So we're going to start this morning with some head nods and turns. And the sun just came out. Yay! With your, again, spine nice and long, the back of your neck nice and long, I'm going to gently lower our head down so that we're looking at the ground or our feet. Keeping that head kind of square on your shoulders, not bringing it forward, just keeping it square on your shoulders, just nodding down. And then we're going to nod up to the ceiling, but don't take your head too far back. If you're looking up at a 45-degree angle, maybe that's a little the opposite of the 45-degree. Anyway, you're not looking 180 up, you're looking off into the distance, off to the horizon, but upward. Great. And then bring your head back down, nod it down again. Inhale, lift your head up, lift your eyes up to the sky. Exhale, bring your head back down again. And one last time, lifting your eyes up to the sky. And then bring it back to center. Again, your head should be over your shoulders, nice, your spine and back of your neck nice and long and straight. And then we'll just turn our head to the left, to look gently to the left. And do it slowly so you're not feeling any tension. And exhale, bring it back to center. Inhale, bring it to the right side to look at your right side of your mat. Exhale, back to center. Inhale to the left side of the mat. Exhale back to center, and then inhale to the right side of your mat. And back to center. And we'll do a few shoulder shrugs. So just relax your shoulders and make nice long gated circles with them, reaching up toward your ears, toward the back. Bring your shoulders loosely to the back, kind of bringing your shoulder blades closer together. Bring them down toward the mat, and then front, and then back up toward your ears. Nice and gently, no tension. And then reverse the direction. Okay. And then let's bring our fingertips to the sides so that they're touching the mat, and then inhale for sun breaths, bring your arms up overhead. And exhale, bringing our arms back down. Deep inhale up. And deep exhale back down. You can employ the Ujjayi breath, which is that ocean sound breath. That will slow down your breath and synchronize it to your movement. Exhale back down. One more inhale up. And one more exhale back down. Now we'll come into Cobbler's pose, which is bringing the soles of your feet together and your knees out to the sides. And you can wrap your fingers in a, interlace your fingers and wrap them around your toes if that works for you, or grab hold of the front of your ankles if that works better. And we're gonna have a nice straight back. Point our elbows toward our knees, and then just hinge from the hip and come forward, sending your gaze out in front of you. And we'll stretch the inner thigh, stretch the lower back. And just do that gently, and inhale, come back up again. Again, you have to be adding to the health of your body, not taking away. So don't do anything that causes pain. So inhale, bringing your elbows toward your knees, pivoting from the waist, leaning forward, sending your gaze out ahead. And then exhale, come down back. Nice and straight and tall again. Then one last time, send your elbows so they're pointing to the knees, hinging from the hip, from the waist. Send yourself forward, gazing ahead. And then exhale, or inhale, come back, rather. And then let's make our way up to tabletop. So come up onto your hands and knees. Wrists are right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips. Fingers are splayed out, and the weight of your hands should be pushing down to the mat to create space between your shoulders and your ears. And keeping the weight from being on your wrists. Your navel's tucked to your spine so that you're creating a nice flat back. Then we're going to come round our back dropping our head and pelvis down for cat. Inhale, lifting our head and pelvis up for cow. Exhale, rounding our back, dropping our head and pelvis down. Inhale for cow, lifting our head and pelvis up. Exhale, rounding our back, dropping our pelvis down. Inhale, lift up to cow. And continue on at your own pace for a few more with deep inhales, deep exhales, synchronizing the movement to your breath. And on your last breath, you can come back to tabletop and tucking your navel to your spine, creating a nice flat back. Bring your knees together to the center so that your knees are touching one another. Hands are still out underneath your shoulders. We'll lift our right leg up, pointing the toes to the back of the mat, trying to keep the hips even parallel to the mat, not twisting them open, but keep your hip bones so that they're facing down toward the mat in an even way. And then lift your left arm up, pointing to the front of the mat. And we're going to inhale, pointing the toe, exhale, flexing the foot so the toes are pointing down to the floor. Inhale, point toes to the back of the mat. Exhale, flex so the toes are pointing down toward the mat. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. And exhale, flex. You can bring both hand and knee back down. And we'll do that on the other side. Again, try to keep even weight distributed in your hands. Lift your left leg up. Check the alignment of your hips so that they are facing, the hip bones are facing to the mat. And lift your right arm up. And pointing your toes, inhale. Flexing your foot, exhale. Point, inhale. Flex, exhale. Point, inhale. Flex, exhale. Point, inhale. Flex, exhale. Point, inhale. And flex, exhale. Bring everything back down to the mat. We're going to lower our hips to our ankles for child's pose. And you can either have your knees together or you can bring them out to the edges of the mat so your toes are touching for a wide-legged child's pose. And then slide your arms out front and come down to the mat and rest for a moment. And come back up to tabletop. Bring your knees under your hips. Tuck your toes under and walk your hands back so that you come up off your knees and you're balancing on your toes, on the balls of your toes. And then push down into the balls of your toes and come up into mountain. We'll go through our mountain essentials. So Have your feet firmly rooted into the mat. Toes are pointing to the straight edge of your mat. You lift your toes up off the mat, spreading as wide as you can. Nice stretch. And then bring them back down to the mat and lift your heels up off the mat. And stretch your heels out. And then come back down to the mat. Again, feeling nice and rooted. Your legs are going to be nice and straight, about hip width apart, maybe a little closer. Knees are softly bent. Navel's tucked to the spine, creating that nice long back and back of the neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked back, not down, but back, so that your head's not jutting out. That one's for me. And then the top of your head, the crown of your head's reaching to the sky, so that if you pull a string from the top of your head, everything is going to be nice and straight and long, like a marionette. You come back down. So inhale, we're going to sweep our hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold, hinging from the hips. Come down, bending your knees deeply. Bring your hands down to the floor. So you're resting your chest or your ribs on your thighs. Your knees are nice and bent. Hands are supporting you, but not too much. Your weight's not in your hands. The weight should be in your legs. And then just take a moment to check in with your body. See how it's doing today. See if you have any particular aches and pains. Send a loving breath to those with a deep inhale. And deep exhale, send that breath to any tension that you may feel. And then inhale, come up, sweeping your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze ahead for half forward fold. Opening your chest, opening your heart. And then slide your hands back down to the mat for forward fold. Your legs can be bent any degree that's comfortable for you, or they could be somewhat straight, but don't ever lock your knees into a straight lock here. And then inhale, sweeping our hands all the way up from the bottom of the mat up to the ceiling. We're going to come up onto our tippy toes for palm tree and just sway here for a moment. And then come back down on your heels, sweeping your hands back down to the floor, forward fold, hinging at the hip, bringing the crown of your head down toward the ground. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold, straightening your back out, sending your gaze ahead, opening your chest. And then slide your hands back down, forward fold, crown of your head goes toward the ground. Inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up again, up and over your head, bringing the palms together. And if this is uncomfortable, you can always have your arms at a V shape. That is a little bit more comfortable. Otherwise, you keep them palms together. Arms should be in line with your ears. And bring your right hand down to your right thigh, keeping your left arm up. Slide your right hand down toward your knee for supported side stretch. Inhale, come back up. Bring up, both hands are up above you, and then drop your left hand to your left thigh and slide your left hand down toward its knee. Side stretch to the left. Inhale, come back up. Hands overhead, drop your right hand back down to your right thigh, slide it down. to your right knee. Inhale, come back up. And left hand to the left thigh. Slide it down to your knee for a side stretch. And come back up again. And swan dive, basically, all the way down for forward fold. Down. Bring your hands to the floor, crown of your head toward the mat. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold. Flat back, open chest, open heart. Exhale, forward fold, head crown toward the ground. And then sweeping your hands all the way up, bringing them up overhead. Bring the palms together and then bring your hands to heart center. We're going to lift our right leg up so that it's at a 90-degree angle like we're sitting in a chair. And then we're just going to extend our toes out like we're trying to poke something with our toes. And just do that with a few breaths. So kick, 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 kick. And then bring that leg down. Inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead again. Nice deep inhale. And then bring your hands to heart center again. We'll do that on the other side. So lift your left leg up. Right angle. Point your toes, kicking them out in front of you. Kick, 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 kick. And one last kick. Bring that back down. Sweeping your hands up overhead. Inhale and exhale, forward fold. Crown comes down toward the ground. Knees can be bent, whatever is comfortable for you. And then slide your hands up. Half forward fold. Flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Crown to the ground. And then inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Come back up. Bring your palms together, come back down to heart center. And then bring your hands to the back of your hips, fingertips facing down. Feet are about hip width apart. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. This time your chin is tucked to your chest. And then just drop your shoulders back for a supported back bend. Your gaze should be going forward, not up to the ceiling, so that your head does not drop back. And remember to breathe. And then come back up. How's everybody doing? Great. All right, so coming into mountain pose. Inhale, sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bringing both hands down to the mat. And then we're going to extend both feet to the back of the mat into downward dog. So get comfortable here for a moment in your downward dog. Fingers are spread wide apart. Keeping the weight off your wrist. Arms are nice and straight. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. Hips are elevated up toward the sky. Knees are bent. You could be pedaling. That's usually a really comfortable thing to do in downward dog. And if you're not pedaling, then just have your knees bent. So be more sustainable for your practice. Okay, and then we're going back to our old favorite of knee to elbow. So on the inhale, we're going to bring our right knee to the right elbow, pushing off with our left foot, So knee to elbow, coming forward. You're basically in a plank pose with your knee lifted to your elbow. And then back again, downward dog. And then knee to elbow, so inhale, lifting your right knee to your right elbow. And then back again. And this time we're going to bring our right foot between our hands. So inhale, lift your right foot up, bring them between your hands, any way that's comfortable for you. So come into runner's lunge. Runner's lunge, your knees right over your ankle. Your back leg is very active, energized, pushing the heel to the back of the mat, creating a nice stretch in your thighs, hamstrings. And bring your left knee down to the mat and the top of your left foot down to the mat. And then we're going to take our fingertips, just have them gently on the mat. We're going to straighten out our front leg. And we can be connected here with our chest, our rib cage to our thigh. And just ride that leg back as we straighten it, bringing our head down toward the knee. Whatever spot feels comfortable for you, stop there and then come back up to the lunge position. Again, straighten out your leg, front leg, bringing your head down toward your knee. This is half monkey. And then come back up. It's a nice modification of the pyramid pose too. And then one last time, straighten out your leg, bringing your head down toward the knee. And then back up again. Come back up to runner's lunge by tucking your toes under, lifting your back leg off the mat, and then placing both hands down on the mat. Bring your right foot to the back of the mat to join your left foot and come into plank pose. So plank pose, you have your wrists under your shoulders, your legs are energized, both heels are pushing to the back of the mat, and your navel's tucked to your spine, lifting your hips slightly to the ceiling. None of this scoop tummy thing. Have your angle so that it's away from the mat, not toward the mat. And then with chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, we're going to lower ourselves to the mat. Chaturanga, keep your elbows close to your ribs and come down gently to the mat. We're going to bring our hands to our sides with our palms facing up. And our chin is on the mat. I'm going to do some locust moves. So half locust, lift your right leg up. And again, try to keep your hips facing the mat, parallel to the mat. Lift your right leg up, bring that back down. And your arms alongside of you with your palms facing up will be a nice support for you. On your left leg, lift the left leg up and bring that back down. A right leg again, lift it up and bring that back down. And left leg, bring that up and that back down. Now we're going to lift both legs up and lift both arms up for a full locust. So inhale, lift everything up off the ground. We're flying away. And then back down. And then we'll do that one more time. So we'll lift everything up, feet and arms up off the mat. And then bring everything back down. Bring your hands so that they're underneath your shoulders and gently push down, lift up to cobra. And then lift up to tabletop, and then send your hips to your ankles in child's pose. And whichever child's pose works for you, wide angle, child pose, or with your knees right below you. But inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and come into downward dog. So get situated in your favorite downward dog position. Hips reaching up to the sky, pedaling out. And then inhale, lifting your left knee to your left elbow, pushing off with your right foot. And then come back to downward dog and pedal out. Inhale, lift your left knee to your left elbow. And then come back down to downward dog. And this time we're going to bring our left foot between our hands for runner's lunge. So inhale, lift your left foot up so that it's framed by your front, between your hands. So again, knees right over your ankle. Back leg is nice and active, feeling the energy. Heels pushing to the back of the mat. Bring your right knee to the mat. Left top of your foot, or right top of your foot to the mat. And in the front, we're gonna have our fingertips on the mat and straighten out our leg for half monkey. Bringing our head down toward our knee. And then come back up again. Exhale, straightening out your leg, bringing your head down toward your knee. And then back up again. And one last time, straightening out the front leg, bringing the head down toward the knee. And then back up again. Tuck your toes under the back foot, coming back up to runner's lunge. And then placing both hands back down on the mat, bring your left foot down to the back of the mat to join your right foot and come into plank. Wrists are under shoulders. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked up to the spine, lifting your hips upward. Not to the degree of downward dog, but just upward. And then chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Bring yourself down gently to the mat. And this time we're going to extend our arms all the way to the front of the mat and beyond, so that our fingertips are way out front. Heads can be on your chin or on your forehead. And we'll do the locust with just lifting the back legs for the half locust. So lift your right leg up. Again, check to make sure your hips are parallel to the mat. And bring your right leg down. Lift your left leg up. And bring that back down. Right leg again, up. And bring that back down. And left leg up. And bring that back down. And if you want, the next move, you can lift both your legs up and lift your arms up if it's comfortable for you. It's quite a bit of a stretch, so see what works for you. But on the inhale, lift everything up. And then back down again. Then lift everything back up. And back down again. Bring your hands below your shoulders, tucking your elbows to your side. Push down gently to come up into Cobra. And then push all the way up into tabletop, and then send your hips to your ankles for child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop. And then tuck your toes under for downward dog. And walk your feet to your hands nice and slowly till you reach the forward fold. Then inhale, slowly coming up to mountain. All the way up. And then forward fold again, all the way back down. Hands are on the mat. Extend your right foot back, so that's in runner's lunge. And this time, your back leg is active. Your toes are snug into the mat, heel pushing to the back of the mat. But the energy is going to be really focused on your front leg. So you push down to lift up. So push down into your front leg to lift up into high lunge. Lifting your arms up overhead if that's comfortable. And then bring both hands back down to the mat. Bring your right hand so that's solidly connected with the mat, and sweep your left hand up toward the ceiling for a twist. And then bring that left hand back down, so you're back into runner's lunge. And then bring your right foot, you're going to be pushing down on your front foot, so you're able to bring your right foot up to meet your left foot to the top of the mat, bringing yourself into forward fold again. And then slowly bring yourself back up to mountain pose. And we're going to do warrior 3. So to do warrior 3, but we could do what I've been doing lately, and I know a couple of you have, is cross-country ski exercise. So it's basically bring your feet hip width apart. You're going to lower our hips and bending our knees, come into like we're sitting into a chair, extending our hands out front. And then come back up. While we come back up, we're going to extend our arms to the back while we bring our right foot to the back, just the toes. So our front knee is still gently bent. Our back leg is straight with the balls of our feet on the mat. Arms are extended back. And then we're going to come back to chair pose. Come back down. Push up, bringing your arms to the back, bringing your left foot to the back this time. So your right knee is bent and your back foot is on the ball of your foot. So back and bent down to chair pose. And we'll speed it up a little because it's a little hard to do in slow-mo. Back up. Chair pose, and then extend your right foot back, arms back, chair pose, extend your left foot back, arms back, chair pose, extend your right foot back, arms back, chair pose, right foot back, or left foot back, arms back, and then chair pose, and then come back up again. So that's kind of a warming up for positioning ourselves for warrior three. So warrior three, extend your, we'll start with our left leg. And that's what I love about yoga, is that it adds to both sides of our body. We all have a strong side, but we all then have a weak side. And by favoring our strong side, we're actually stealing the opportunity from our weak side to get stronger. And yoga has a way of having poses on both sides. So we're strengthening and adding to our weak side. So back to the pose. So when we were doing that cross-country thing, so we have our front leg bent, our back leg is on the ball of our foot. And we can send our arms back, tuck your navel in to your spine, support your lower back, and then we're going to push and keep the bend. The key is keep the bend in your front leg. We're going to push off, hinging at the hips, lowering our head to the mat, lifting our back leg up. Woo. And then come back down. And we could try that with our arms up overhead. So again, keeping your left foot where it is, extending your right foot back. That creates a little bend in your front foot, front leg. Bring your arms up overhead. And you can do the other version too if you like, that's more comfortable. Or even hands on your hip if that's more comfortable. But we'll try this. Hinge at the hip, leaning forward, bringing your right leg up for warrior three. That I obviously need to work on. A little bit more strength in my left leg. There we go. And then bring back down. All right, let's do that all on the other side. So, maybe so, yeah, we have enough time. So inhale, come back up. Exhale, forward fold. Send your left leg back to the back of the mat, coming into runner's lunge. With your front foot pushing down, come up into high lunge. Your back toes, ball of your foot should be nice and snug and supporting you. Back leg is active, that helps to stabilize you. And then come back down to runner's lunge. Plant your left hand into the mat, sweeping your right hand all the way up to the sky. And then bring that back down to the mat. Bring your left foot up. By pushing down in your right foot, bring the left foot up to meet the right foot and come into forward fold. And then come all the way up into mountain. We'll skip the runner's lunge or the cross-country ski thing because we've done that plenty. But now we're going to extend our left foot back so that we're on the balls of our left toe. And for me, this is my stronger leg anyway. So keep my fingers crossed. This works a little better. So first we're going to extend our arms back. Tuck our navel to our spine. Hinge from the waist. Lifting our left leg, our back leg up. And come into airplane. Keeping our knee bent. And then come down again. And then bringing our arms up overhead if this is comfortable for you to try. Send your back leg back, your left leg back again. So you're on the balls of your foot. Right leg is bent. And hinge from the waist, lifting your left leg up and pivoting your head down. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then come back down. Yay! Alrighty, so let's bring our toes, pinky toes to the edge of the mat. Feet are at 45-degree angle. Back is nice and straight and long. Bring our hands together in front of our heart for prayer pose. And we're going to send our hips down into a wide-legged squat. So lower your hips, bending your knees, bringing your torso between your legs, your elbows to your knees. And if you want a little more stretch, you just bring your hands in the prayer pose closer down toward the mat. That'll push against your knees and create a little bit more stretch. And then let's come and sit down on the mat and roll down on our backs. So you either roll down one vertebrae at a time or the express method, tucking your hands under your knees and just rolling back. Bring your knees to your chest and rock back and forth. Give yourself a nice back massage. And bring your feet down to the mat and make them a little wider than your hips so that they're almost to the edges of your mat. Bring your hands down to your sides, your arms along your sides with your palms facing down. We'll do a few windshield wipers here. So lower your knees to the right side of the mat. And then inhale, bring them back up, and then lowering them to the left side of the mat. And inhale, bring them back up. And you can go at your own pace for a few moments. Inhaling and exhaling. You may want to go slow. You may want to go fast. Keep your arms and hands into the mat so that you can support yourself. And then bring your knees so that they're pointing up to the sky. And bring your heels closer to your hips. This time your feet are hip width apart. Arms are still along the side, palms facing down to support you. I'm going to pivot our pelvic area up and then push down to our feet to come up into bridge pose. Lifting our hips up toward the sky. Knees should be parallel to one another, not splayed open. Eyes should be up toward the ceiling. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, roll back down to the mat. We'll try that 2 more times. So bring the lower back down to the mat, tilting your pelvis up. Push down into your feet so you lift your hips up toward the sky. Knees are parallel to one another. And then lower back down one vertebrae at a time. And one last time. Lower your lower back to the mat, tilting your pelvis up, pushing down in your feet, lift your hips up toward the sky. And then slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time. And you can extend your feet to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. Just relax and let your feet flop open. Let your arms flop open with the palms facing up. Just relax. Let go of any tension in your body. We take a few deep breaths to help that along. I have a quote here from Marianne Williamson. And the quote I felt kind of adds to your authentic self. It kind of addresses adding to your authentic self instead of taking from. She says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give the other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others."